Hello everyone, welcome to Innovative English Learning. You can also watch this video in Urdu from the playlist. Today we are going to talk about another punctuation mark, that is comma. So in this video we'll talk about the different uses of comma in detail. Let's see what are the different uses of comma. Like all punctuation, the comma helps readers understand the writer's meaning and prevents ambiguity. Remember, the main purpose of using comma is to bring clarity in the meaning of a sentence. Notice how the comma helps make the meaning clear in the second example. Here we have two examples. One is ambiguous and another is clear. Look at the first one. To be successful, nurses with MS degrees must continue to learn. Now there is ambiguity whether it means to be successful nurses or whether it means to be successful nurses with MS degrees. Here the clear example shows to be successful, comma, nurses with MS degrees must continue to learn. Now the meaning is clear that if you want to be successful or if the nurses want to be successful, so those nurses with MS degrees must continue to learn. Now the meaning is clear. Now how to or where to use comma? First one is linking independent clauses. Now independent clause is the one that can stand by itself to give us complete meaning. We have discussed it in previous videos. Use a comma before a coordinating conjunction like and, but, or, nor, and, sometimes, so, yet, and for that links independent clauses. So if such conjunctions they combine or they link two independent clauses, we can use a comma before such conjunctions. For example, the new microwave disinfection system was delivered, comma, but the installation will require an additional week. So here we have two clauses, they are linked with the help of but. We are using comma before the conjunction. However, if two independent clauses are short and closely related and there is no danger of confusing the reader, the comma may be omitted. Remember, there is option. If the clauses are shorter and they are closely related, we can omit the comma. For example, the cable snapped and the power failed. There is no comma. Or the cable snapped, comma, and the power failed. Both are correct. Okay, we can use a comma or we can omit a comma in such cases when the clauses are shorter and they are closely related. Next, enclosing elements. Sometimes we have additional non-essential information. So commas are used to enclose non-essential information in non-restrictive clauses, phrases, and parenthetical elements. Remember, sometimes in between sentences we bring clauses or phrases or some parenthetical information or elements which are not essential for the structure of the sentence. So such information are separated with the help of commas. For example, our new factory, comma, which began operations last month, comma, should add 25% to total output. Now, which began operations last month? This clause is non-essential information, so we enclose such information in comma. Okay, the main structure is our new factory should add 25% to total output. The technician, comma, working quickly and efficiently, comma, finished early. Again, working quickly and efficiently, that is a phrase that is non-essential information. So before and after such phrase we put commas. We can, comma, of course, comma, expect their lawyer to call us. Again, this phrase, of course, is some kind of non-essential information. So we put commas before and after it. After linking or transitional words. Remember, linking or transitional words are those words which we use to move from one idea into another or which introduce some kind of ideas. Words and quotations. Certain types of introductory words are followed by a comma. One example is a transitional word or phrase like however, in addition, etc. that connects the preceding clause or sentence with the thought that follows. So such words, transitional words, they connect the preceding and the succeeding information with each other. For example, here you can say, for example, comma, this change will make us more competitive in the global marketplace. So for example is a transitional word or phrase, that is why we are using a comma after it. First, comma, boil the water. Second, comma, add some milk to it. Finally, add black tea and sugar. So here first and second, they are transitional words and we are using commas after it. Finally is also a transitional words. Here comma is missing, but we have to put a comma here as well. Separating items in a series. When there is a series of items, so we separate items with the help of comma. Although the comma before the last item in a series is sometimes omitted, it is generally clearer to include it. Remember, when there is a list of items, so normally we omit the comma before the last item, but it is better to use a comma even after the last item. For example, Islamabad, comma, Lahore, comma, Karachi, comma, Peshawar, comma, Rawalpindi, comma, and Quetta are the major cities of Pakistan. So it's a list of cities and we are separating the names with the help of commas. Separate adjectives when more than two adjectives modify a noun. Remember, when more than two adjectives come with a noun, they modify one noun, we separate them with the help of comma. But remember, do not separate the last adjective from the noun. The last adjective remains with the noun. We do not put a comma between the last adjective and the noun. For example, he is a skillful, comma, punctual, comma, dutiful worker. So dutiful and worker, they are not separated from each other. Worker is the noun and dutiful is the last adjective. Using with numbers and names. When we bring numbers and names, we use certain commas in certain places. So commas are conventionally used to separate distinct items. Use commas between the elements of an address written on the same line. When we write the address in the same line, we put commas to separate the items. For example, Mohalla or street, village, comma, post office, comma, tehsil, comma, district, comma, province, comma, and country. Okay, so these elements are separated with the help of comma. A full date that is written in month, day, and year format uses a comma preceding and following the year. So if date is written with month, day, and year, so before and after the year we put commas. November 30th, comma, 2020, comma. So before and after the date we have commas. But remember, no commas are used when showing only the month and year or month and day in a date. But when there are two of them, month, year, and day or month, then we do not use commas. For example, the target date of May 2012 is optimistic. So May is month and 2012 is year. We do not use commas here because day is missing here. So I would like to meet on March 4 to discuss our options. Again, March month and 4 is the day, but there is no year. That is why again we do not use commas. Comma is used after the salutation and complimentary clause in letters in British English. Colon is used in American English. Remember, when we write a letter or application, before the body of letter we have salutation or the greetings. So after the greetings we put a comma in British English and a colon in American English. For example, dear brother, comma, or respected sir, comma. And then complimentary clause or closing remarks, the phrase that we bring after the body of letter or application, like sincerely yours or yours sincerely loving, your loving brother, etc. So we put a comma after a complimentary clause as well. Comma is used after dependent clause in complex sentences when the dependent clause begins the sentence. Remember, complex sentence is the one where we have a dependent and independent clause. So when the dependent clause begins the sentence, then we put a comma after it. For example, if it rains, comma, we will stop the class. Now, if it rains, it is the dependent clause. That is why it is followed by a comma. When they arrive, again, it is dependent clause. We are putting a comma here. We will go for picnic. But if we write it this way, we will stop the class if it rains, then no need of using comma. Or we will go for picnic when they arrive. Again, there is no need of comma when the independent clause begins the sentence. Comma is also used after reporting speech in direct narration. When we have direct narration, so after reporting speech we put a comma. like he said, comma, I am fine. The teacher said to students, comma, why are you talking? Okay, so the teacher said to students, put a comma here. Why are you talking? Here we need a question mark, but I put full stop mistakenly. Introducing elements, clauses and phrases. Generally place a comma after an introductory clause or phrase, especially if it is long, to identify where the introductory element ends and the main part of the sentence begins. Sometimes we bring clauses or phrases which introduce some information before the main clause. So if the clause or phrase is lengthy, we put a comma after it. For example, because we have not yet contained the new strain of influenza, we recommend vaccination for high risk patients. The main sentence is or the main clause is we recommend vaccination for high risk patients, but this is because we have not yet contained the new strain of influenza is the introductory clause, therefore we put a comma after it. A long modifying phrase that precedes the main clause should always be followed by a comma. Similarly, if there is a long phrase that precedes a main clause, before a main clause there is a phrase that is lengthy, we put a comma after such phrases. Like during the first series of field performance test at our workshop. Now, this is the first modifying phrase and it is a lengthy one. We put a comma after it. The new engine failed to meet our expectation. That is the main clause. And the first part, this is a phrase and it is the modifying phrase. So therefore we have to put a comma after such modifying phrase. Okay, thank you for watching Innovative English Learning. Hope you would have learned many things about the uses of comma in this video. For more such videos on English grammar, punctuation marks, phonetics, phonology, or creative writing, keep watching Innovative English Learning and do share it with your friends. Thank you. Take care of yourselves.